I can tell you until I'm blue in the face how great DCRDEX is, but it all means nothing until you see the process and then try it for yourself. With this in mind, we're going to complete a trade from DCR to BTC. Because of the nature of this content, this video will be unscripted. It could all go horribly wrong. But the only way I can show you how this works is if I talk you through the full process. From hunting for a good price, to putting up a few bids to see if any of them stick, to executing a trade, and then finally the on-chain settlement process. Let's have some fun and complete a DCRDEX trade. What I've done already ahead of time is I've already populated my Decred wallet with 40 Decred plus the fees, and I've already populated my BTC wallet with the fees. So those are all mining fees. Remember that DCRDEX is a peer-to-peer exchange, so there are no fees for trading. It's all to do with settlement. Okay, so once you make the trade, then it all goes on chain to settle, to do the actual swap. So it's all peer-to-peer, which is absolutely amazing. Now, before you get started, the first thing that I would do is make sure your BTC wallet is in sync. You should see a round icon just here saying that it's syncing. If you're not sure, you can head on over to the wallets page and you can press this rescan button. And I like to do this just to make sure everything is working properly. It's not actually necessary, but it just kind of tells me that the Bitcoin wallet is operating as it should do. Once that's in sync, you're pretty much good to go. So once again, I'm running DCRDEX from Decrediton with SPV mode disabled, so I'm actually validating the full Decred chain, which is great. It makes it slightly more secure and obviously means that I'm not relying on any third-party service. Now, before you get started, as I said in the last video, make sure you backed up your DCRDEX seed, and if you're using DCRDEX from Decrediton, make sure you backed up your Decrediton seed as well. Obviously, if you don't, you could be at risk of losing all your funds. The next thing I need to say is, because it's all on chain, all the time your trade is happening, you do need to make sure that this window is open. Now, DCRDEX is very, very stable, and I've had no problems. Normally, a trading session for me is anything from 1 to 2 to 3 hours, depending on how much profit I'm trying to make. And this window pretty much always stays open and it's fine. I'm just running this off of my Wi-Fi. I'm not patched in or anything like that, and I'm a little distance away from the router actually, so it's really, really solid. So once again, the trade we're going to be making is DCR to BTC, which is the most liquid pair that we have on DCRDEX at the moment. We're going to be doing it as a limit order, so obviously you can do it as a market order, and a market order will just pick up the closest one and make that sale happen. So we're going to do it as a limit, and then we're not buying today, we're going to sell, because obviously that's what I've got here. So we're doing a sell order, so make sure you got those two selected. If you were doing a buy order, obviously you'd do it this way, and I'll show you in that, obviously in the next video, how to do that. So once we've got our sell price sorted, then we need to work out what kind of price do we want to really sell for. Now, I will say ahead of time, the market is ever so slightly getting away from us. It's actually going down at the minute, so it's not probably the best time to do this, but before the end of this video, I'll make sure that we execute an order no matter what the value is. But we should do a bit of a test run first. Now, the price that I like to try and sell my DCR for is 135, so 0.00135. It's actually quite a nice price. So once I've entered that there, I'll then enter one lot, and that'll give me 40 DCR, and it'll also tell me how much BTC I'm going to get back from this trade. So 0.054, which is absolutely fantastic. It does need to be said that anything more than a spread of 1% really does take quite a bit of time to fulfill, so it's unlikely that this trade will fill. But I want to put on a trade, then I'll cancel it and show you how that process happens as well, and then we'll put on a more sensible trade that's going to get filled just a little bit quicker. So we've put in our price 135. We can see this line. This is where it's going to place it in the order books. We made sure it's one lot, 40 DCR. That's the lowest value we can have. So then we're going to say place order. Enter our password. Don't worry too much about this stuff at the bottom. That's just if you want to change the mining fees so they process a little bit easier. I'm happy with the defaults. I'm not too worried about that. You've also got some information here about what you will get back. So the price that you put in is this much, the quantity you're selling is 40, this is what you're going to get back, and this is what it's currently worth in US dollars. So then we can just press the sell DCR button. Now you'll notice that a dotted line appears. That's the EPAC or epoch, and that's basically a block of time that you have to wait for it to be put onto the order books, and it's also the same if you want to cancel as well. This just prevents high frequency trading. It's a really good system actually, and it makes sure that if you put down an order, you don't get front run. It's a very fair system. So our order is in there. Once we see the arrow turn up, that will basically tell us that our order is ready. So it's already in the books. So this is the one here. Just give it a couple more seconds, it should turn up. While we wait for our arrow to turn up, it looks like our market is coming towards us now, which is quite nice. Let's have a look at the order that we've just placed. So it says we've placed a limit order, and there we go, it's now on. You can see our arrow telling us exactly where our order is in the books. So it's telling us we've got a limit order, that we're selling DCR, that the trade has been active for 1 minute. The rate that we're trying to sell is 0.00135. The quantity of DCR we're selling is 40. When it gets filled, it will either say 0% or 100%. Now, if you were filling 2 lots, it could say 50% filled, okay? But because we're only selling 1 lot, it will either be 0% or 100%. And this is just so that you don't get any mismatches. It's really easy to kind of fulfill an order. So once it's filled, then it will go into the settlement, and this is the on-chain side of things. So we can actually choose not choose anything actually, we can just watch our settlement happen. Once that's 100% complete, then obviously we can do whatever we want, do another trade or whatever. And this shows us the status, so it's currently on the books. If it said completed there, that would obviously give us that status. And we can obviously cancel the order by clicking on this. If you want to see more about that order, you can just click on the order details, and it gives you everything you need to know, pretty much exactly what we just saw there, and it also shows us the coin funds that are being used for it as well. So we're in the order books, that's pretty much okay. The other thing I like to do is see what's actually happening on the market. So we've placed an order for 0.00135. Now if we head on over to DCR data and we scroll down to the exchange rate area, we actually get to see what that looks like and what all the other exchanges look like. So DCRDEX says 133, Binance says 134, and Bittrex says 133. So the aggregate is 134. So at the moment we've got this arbitrage opportunity, and this blue line is DCRDEX. It shows that if people moved their coins over to DCRDEX, that they would actually be able to buy DCR cheaper than what they could do from this yellow patch, which is Binance. And you also get all the different order books, so you can see that by trying to sell our 40 DCRDEX here, which actually that isn't my order's this one here, but by trying to sell it here, it actually says, right, there's enough liquidity that order should get filled. And you see on the other order books, on Bittrex, which is this red one, and Binance, there's actually more than 150 coins trying to be bought at this particular moment. The one thing that always surprises me is that people trying to buy DCR is always so far away from this margin. It'd be nice to see a few more coming in to kind of fulfill this gap. It's not always like that. It's probably just a day, and I mean it does indicate that the market is actually moving to the left rather than to the right. You can see that there's inflows here all the way to this point here, whereas the outflows are kind of all the way over here. So it does tend to tell you that it is kind of moving away from you, which is a little bit unfortunate. Like I said before, it looks like we're on a downward market, which probably not the best time to do this video, but hey ho. Now we can also, if we click on our order, and we make sure we've got the lot size, we can take this value here and we can put it into a calculator. So I use coin market cap, and I can just put it in here and it tell me exactly how much I'm going to get back in pounds. So I can say, okay, roughly it's worth 979. More likely this is the price I'm going to sell for. So I'm going to lose about £19-20 by the time I make my trade. And that's purely because it looks like it's a downward market. For this particular one, I'm not too worried, but normally I'd probably cancel and I'd come back tomorrow and have another go. That being said, let's have a little look at this. Let's see where we're at. Okay. So I'm happy that this one is not going to get filled. So what I'm going to do here is cancel this order. So I can come over to this X and press cancel. Another good thing before I do that is DCRDEX does have these time slots. So it's a really good idea to make sure you leave your trade on the order books for a period of time. Normally 3 to 5 minutes, absolutely fine. Try not to make it too short. Really short, obviously you'll get penalized if it's within seconds, but it obviously also gives other people time to adjust their orders. So let's cancel that. Enter my password just to tell them I'm happy to cancel. And then once again, we do have to wait a little bit of time for my order to cancel. And it shows you here that it's cancelling. Now it's cancelled. It's released my coins again, so they're ready to use again. And remember, this locking period, this is all done decentralized. This is all done via a contract for DCRDEX. It just says, hey, these coins can't be spent, okay? But it's not held by anyone. That's what's really, really interesting about this. It's just a simple contract that says, hey, let's keep these locked for a second whilst they're in the order book. Yeah, and I think that's really clever. And you have to remember this is DCRDEX is definitely a new kind of exchange. This is all peer-to-peer. I haven't had to go to an exchange. I haven't had to log in. This is my own wallet that I'm logging into. No one else is running it. You know, it's really clever. I haven't had to give over all my personal details to do that. And a lot of people kind of don't appreciate that this is just me trading with somebody else. This order here, for instance, this is just somebody else. This is somebody that's interested in trading peer-to-peer. Same with all of these are just individuals loading up their wallet or a wallet and trading on DCRDEX. There's no third party involved in this. It's absolutely amazing. So let's see if we can fulfill a trade then. So in order to fulfill a trade, we need to get as close to this point as possible. So if I say, see, that's going to put it right on that cusp. Let's just make it a little bit more tantalizing for them. Push it over just a little bit more. So once again, it's always best to check that you're doing this in the right order. So I always click on the limit order, make sure I'm selling, because obviously that's what I'm trying to do here. Get my price in, so just make sure my red line isn't overlapping the green line, otherwise I'm going to end up buying a bid down here somewhere. Make sure I got my one lot, make sure I'm happy with the amount I'm going to get back. So obviously it's gone down almost a point here, which isn't ideal, but I'm not too worried at this point. So I'm just going to place that order. Now you notice, because I'm entering my second trade, it has actually unlocked this bottom area. Before, when we looked at this bit, was all locked, and all this is just to adjust the mining fees so you can actually make them more efficient. Like I said, I'm not too worried. The mining fee kind of just works itself out as long as you've got enough in there. It's kind of it works. Maybe there's a better explanation of that, but I've found that if I leave it as is, it's normally pretty much okay. So let's place my sell order. Make sure I'm happy with this first. So price and the amount I'm selling, the total BTC that I'm going to get back, and I'll just check that on my book just to make sure I'm happy. The amount that it's worth, so it's ever so slightly less. Like I said, it's about $15 less. Let's do it. Okay, so the dotted line is obviously telling me that it's entering into the book. And once it's booked, it should go in and we get our line and we're pretty much there. Now, hopefully it's settling straight away. Look, do you see that? We put it so close, someone just picked it up almost instantly. So there we go. So look, it's said here. So this is our order. So it was 29 seconds old because we got it so close. It was limit order, sell, 35 seconds. The rate that we sold it at, the quantity we sold, Now it's 100% filled, and now it's settling. So in a moment, we'll head on over to the settling page and we'll just watch this. Now this is the bit that's done all on chain. That was ridiculously crazy how quickly that sold actually. So we kind of caught a little bit of a breath of fresh air there. Someone just picked it up straight away, which was absolutely crazy. And that's kind of how these things work really. If the closer you get to this spread, or the closer you get to the green order book, obviously the quicker it will fill, but it does cut down on your profit. So for instance, I lost out of the £1,000 or the £970 that I was going to get. Now my return is something like 950. So obviously it did cut down on my profit. So if you are looking for more profit, the bigger margin is there, but you will have to wait ever so slightly longer. The market just got really active just then as well. Can you see it's kind of moving up again, which is really nice. It's great to see it when it goes like this actually. This person's order here is still taking a little bit of time to fill. However, they have moved up to 80, so there's 2 lots there now rather than just a 1. Okay, so it's been in the mempool now, or it's been setting for a minute. Now, this does take a little bit of time, so let's head on over there and we'll just kind of watch each one. And what I'll do is I'll stop it and then reset it. Remember, this is all on chain, so this is waiting for actual confirmations from both the BTC Bitcoin blockchain and the DCR blockchain. So it's all done in real time. And although I'm watching this page, I actually don't have to watch this page. If I want to watch the markets, if I want to see what's happening in my wallets, I can. So, you know, we'll come back here. We've probably got a couple of minutes, but if we go over to the markets page, we can actually see, look, the 40 are still locked. And then if we come over to the wallets, it should say that we've now only got 1 in our actual wallet, because we're now kind of transferring them. That's what the process that we're into. Once we've done that, obviously if you're happy, then we just keep watching. But I mean, that's the interesting thing. If you don't have to actually watch that settling, you can actually put on another trade if you want. If you've got more funds, you can just carry on. It's all happening on chain. It's all happening in the background. As long as you've got the DCRDEX window open, it's all good. Okay, so we're at 100% settled now. However, we are still waiting for the redemption, which is still in the mempool. So although it says 100% settled, you do have to just kind of wait for this one to kind of finish, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. Now, let's start from the top then. So we've just got our BTC, the fees that we've done. So on the Decred chain, we've done like 415 atoms, which is like a fraction of a penny. It's miles away from even a fraction of a penny. On the Bitcoin chain, our fees were 2,431 atoms, which is about 40p. So all in all, about 41p in fees to complete that trade, which is absolutely brilliant. And on chain, like for it to fully settle, it was actually about 30 minutes. So we waited about 8 minutes for the 4 confirmations on the Decred chain. We waited about 20 minutes for 2 confirmations on the BTC chain, and now we're currently waiting about 10 minutes for 1 confirmation for the final settlement. We can check on that. Obviously, we won't see the money in our wallet until this kind of confirmation goes through. And there you go, you can see the actual fees that we've paid there. So 49 cents in fees. That's pretty much the whole of this side. Now in your wallets area, obviously until it settles on chain, you won't see it here. If that transaction does settle, you may, and you still don't see it here, you may have to rescan, but we'll have a look at that in a moment. Let's go back and find that trade, and we'll sit on the block explorer for a couple of seconds and wait for it to actually confirm. Okay, so we got our confirmation, so we head on back. In just a moment, we should see that populate in our wallet, and there you go. So within 1 second of the confirmation happening in real time, it updated our wallet. So we've now got those funds in there. So that is the full process.